Hi, I'm Mike with Orella Acoustics, and today we're going to go over our installation of our Element 7S speaker system for the Model 3 and Model Y vehicles. As you can see here, these are our 7 speakers that we have. Our 3 speakers across the dash, our 2 rear doors, our 2 tweeters to replace at the top of the driver and passenger door. A few things that we provide with the kit is a short T20, and we'll show you why with that, and a Forstner bit, and we'll show you why with that for the rear speakers, because the rear speakers are plastic welded into the door, so we will need this to come out. And we have the screws that we provide to put that speaker back in. Some additional tools that you'll need is a drill, a panel popper, a T30 Torx, a T20 Torx with a ratchet is nice. You can use the T20 as well, and just a little tool to basically lift a small panel or rubber gapping in the vehicle. Let's show you how this gets done. To get the tweeter out, you're going to want to use your pry tool. There's a little slot in the back. You're going to lift up, it's going to pop. You're going to want on the front, it's going to pop, and it's going to come out. At that point, you're going to have this little ribbon retainer. We lift it up here, comes off, and then we can pull that retainer directly out and get the tweeter out of the vehicle. Once from there, we just disconnect and the tweeter is out of the car. So to remove the tweeter, what we want to do is put a little bit of pressure on the connector here and just lift up. The tweeter will then pop out and you can take everything out of the tweeter housing. When it comes to installing the tweeter in the factory housing, we do supply you with a left and a right tweeter adapter for the housing. Now, the tweeter adapter does have these 2 little channels here which line up with these 2 little lines right here. So we want to make sure that this portion, which aligns the tweeter itself, is towards the bottom and basically fits right in where everything lines up to the original marks. Once you have the tweeter adapter in here, you're going to notice it's got these 2 ridges here. Well, those are going to align with the bottom of the tweeter here. So when the tweeter goes in, we're going to use that as our guide to know where the center of the tweeter, get it centered into the adapter, and then push it in. So now that the tweeter's clicked back into the housing, we're ready to reinstall it back into the vehicle. One of the adapters that we had earlier, we're going to plug into the tweeter here, like so. The other side is going to plug into the factory connector like so. Lock in. At this point, we're going to take the cable, we're going to drop it into the door, into the original part, and put the tweeter back in. So here we're going to start on our dash speakers. The first thing we're going to need is our pry tool. To do that, we're then going to go in this little gap and pry it up. At this point, we'll just keep lifting and the panel will come off. After that, we need to remove this panel. We can just put our finger in behind and pull that out and pull it up. Panel comes out. This is why we pulled it up. To remove the pillar, I will say, make sure your hands are clean. This interior up here is not forgiving to fingerprints that have dirt on it. So I will recommend make sure your hands are clean before you do it. What we're gonna wanna do is just take down this, which is gonna expose the panel, and then start popping the panel off. So the Model Y is slightly different than the Model 3, and we'll show you the differences between the two. The retainer that holds the Model Y on can actually slide out the bottom to be able to release from it. The Model 3 comes out a little bit differently, and we'll show you how that works as well. Once you get it popped, there are gonna be a few different clips going down all the way almost to the very front. So we just wanna make sure that all those are popped fully. Once those are popped fully, the panel will then just wiggle itself out. Once you have both your A-pillars off, the next thing to do is to pop off the dash cover. This is going to have pops all the way across, left to right, and also little guides in the very back. So what we want to do is basically lift the front up across, pop it all the way up, so then we could slide it directly out. Now that we have all 3 speakers exposed across the dash, this is where this short tool comes in. Unfortunately, the very corner screw on the left and right hand side and the very back screw on the center are very hard to get to with the clearance of the glass. Hence why we have something that's only about a 1/4 inch tall. And that's what this is for, those 3 screws. The normal screws are T20, and I recommend a ratcheting tool of sorts. You can get these relatively inexpensive, not this one specifically, but ones like it, for about $10 or less on Amazon or Harbor Freight. To be able to disconnect the speaker from the connector, there is a small tab that you will have to depress to be able to slide the speaker out. We just showed that here a second ago so you could see it's not possible to show with the speaker connected. So now we have our new speaker ready to install. We have our adapter plugged in. It doesn't matter which plug you plug it into, and then this will plug back into the original connector in the car. Now that we got the dash speaker back in, we're going to go ahead and work on the center and left side as well. The center channel will go over because it does have a tweeter in it, so it is a little bit different than the speaker that is left and right of it. When reinstalling the center channel back in, you want to look at the alignment of the speaker. It should fit in the dash about so. This screw in the Model 3 is very hard to get to, so I recommend pre-putting that into the hole before you drop the speaker in, so it's already lined up, ready to go. Now that we have all our dash speakers replaced and screwed back in, it's time to put the cover panel back in. Something you need to be aware of are these little pieces here. They have slots that they slide into, so the piece needs to go kind of in like this to be able to come back this way. We'll show you. So once you have the dash piece back in, it's time to put the pillars in. Remember, they do slide in, there's a groove for them, and we need to put the connector back in here and make sure it clicks back in, otherwise it will not line back up with the wall. So to do the rear speakers, we need two tools. One, a T30 Torx, and two, a panel removing tool. Now the T30 Torch, you can use a drill, you can use a handheld tool. I like the handheld just because I have more control, just in case it skips and scratches the panel or does something. I like to try to avoid that. So anyways, this is what we need. We'll show you how it's done. So here we're gonna locate the two T30 Torx. One is below here, the other is below where the button is over here. We're just gonna go ahead and unscrew those. Once we have the two bolts removed, the rest is going to be done with the panel removing tool. We want to get that in behind the panel and just start lifting the panel off. Once you have the door panel removed, there's a few things that you're going to have to unplug and disconnect from the panel. One is the speaker. Like I said, you couldn't see it on the dash, but you can see it here. It's got a little clip, and then the terminal slides out. These literally unplug this way. Once you have the door panel removed, you'll see the speaker itself is here. Unfortunately, Tesla has plastic welded this onto the door. So the way we're gonna get that off is utilizing the tool that we're providing, which is the Forstner bit. Now, as you keep going, you wanna keep looking because you don't wanna go past the top of the speaker, or the back of the speaker, I should say. So we just give it a couple of runs, look through. Okay, we're getting pretty close. All right, it's flat, and now you can see the speaker's already ready to let go. Now that we have our speaker removed, our new speaker is going to go right back onto those three little posts that are left, and the screws that we gave you are going to thread right back into those things. Now, I like to use a hand screwdriver because we are making the threads as this is going in, and we don't want to over tighten it and strip it. So I just like to go by hand and make sure it's got a nice snug fit and doesn't get over tightened. Now that we have the speaker remounted, we're ready to start reassembling the door. We want to start first by putting all our plugs back into where the original locations were. Now that those three are back, we can start plugging in our connections. Now we're ready to reinstall the door panel. So now that we've installed our Element 7S speaker system, it's time to go enjoy everything. I hope you do.